Chapter LX, Geburah. Geburah is severity, the law, Bodhi, the spiritual soul, the Valkyrie that was spoken of by that illustrious Spanish writer, Mr. Mario Rosso de Luna. And Geburah is also that the beautiful Helen, etc. Geburah, Bodhi, has exclusively been considered Martian. This is a mistake, because in the world of the spiritual soul, who is feminine, we find the line of the law that is solar. Thus, we find the severity of the law in Geburah, we find it there, but as well we find the nobleness of the lion. Therefore, the Buddhic intuitional world is completely solar. Geburah is the law of justice. Okay, so let me go back. So solar, so relating to the sun, not Mars. The world of Geburah is based on justice. The masters of karma base themselves on the consciousness in order to judge in the tribunal of karma. The masters of karma are judges of consciousness. Justice is beyond good and evil. When you reach the light, you will know that what love is. And when you know what love is, you will know how to love, and will comprehend that conscious love is the law. Thus, to perform a good deed is not what counts, but to know how to perform it. The chief of the archons of the law is the Master Anubis, who exercises the law with his 42 judges. When they officiate, they utilize a sacred mask with the form of the head of a jackal, or a feathered wolf, which is an emblem of truth. Justice is the supreme mercy and the supreme mercilessness of the law. Within the tribunal of karma, whosoever has capital in order to pay comes off well in their negotiations. We must constantly perform good deeds in order for us to have capital for the payment of our debts of this life and past lives. To evade justice is impossible because the police of karma are within us. This is the kaum. Wherever love is lacking, the kaum, the police, the accuser, appears who conducts us before the tribunal of the law. To cancel karma is possible with good deeds. This is how we combat the lion of the law. When an inferior law is transcended by a superior law, then the superior law washes away the inferior law. Karma is not a mechanical law. It can be forgiven. Perform good deeds in order to cancel your debts. Each one of us has a book where our faults are registered on the day and hour that they are committed. Karma is forgiven within us when we become totally inoffensive, when we are not capable of performing evil against anyone. Karma is a medicine that is granted unto us. Buddha said there are three eternal things in life. There's karma, nirvana, and space. Chapter LXI, Tiferet. Tiferet is the groom of the bride. It is the superior manas of Eastern theosophy. It is none other than the human soul, the causal body. It is that soul who suffers and gives that very part unto us. We must distinguish between what the human soul is and what Tiferet is in itself. It is very easy to mistake Tiferet with the causal body. The causal body becomes the vehicle of Tiferet. Some Kabbalists presume that Tiferet, the world of the human soul, or properly called the world of the Son of Man, is governed by the sun. But really, This is not so because it is governed by Venus. This is why Christ is crucified on Holy Friday, and this is something we must meditate upon. The wedding of Guinevere, the divine Amazon, the divine soul, to the knight, who is the human soul, is a marvelous event within which we experience a radical transformation. This is because Bodhi is like a fine and transparent glass of alabaster within the flame of Prajna. The being is a flame that is burning within this alabaster. Esoteric Hindu texts constantly mention the famous Trimurti, Atman Bodhi Manas. This Trimurti is the innermost with his two souls, the feminine spiritual soul and the masculine human soul. The source and foundation of high magic is found in the perfect betrothal of Bodhi Manas with the purely spiritual regions or in the terrestrial world. In the initiatic colleges, or rather the initiate colleges, teach with complete clarity that the beautiful Helen is Bodhi, the spiritual soul of the sixth Venustic initiation, the feminine Shakti, potential of the internal being. The beautiful Helen of Troy is the same Helen in the Faust of Goethe. Helen clearly signifies the betrothal of Nous, Atman Bodhi, with Manas, the human soul. A union through which consciousness and willpower are combined. Therefore, both souls are bestowed with divine powers as a result of such a union. The essence of Atman, who is the primordial, universal, and eternal divine Father, is found within Bodhi, who in complete conjunction with Manas determines the masculine feminine. She and he, Bodhi and Manas, are the twin souls within us, even when the intellectual animal still does not have them incarnated. They are the two adored children of Atman. They are the eternal bride and groom who are always in love. The eternal lady, the spiritual soul, always demands from her knight, the human soul, all types of outrageous sacrifices and prodigies of courage. Fortunate will be the knight that after the hard battle will celebrate his betrothal with Guinevere, the queen of the Jinn knights. The intellectual animal, mistakenly called man, has incarnated within himself a fraction of the human soul. That fraction of soul is denominated essence. In Japanese Zen, it is simply named Buddhata, Buddha-datu, in Tibetan, I think, otherwise. Which is the psychic material with which we can and must build the golden embryo. See the book, The Mystery of the Golden Blossom. Lamentably, the essence dreams, lying within the variegated and grotesque conjunction of submerged and tenebrous entities, which constitute the ego, the myself, the itself. Nonetheless, such essence is the raw matter needed in order to build the soul. This concept still has not been very well understood by our Gnostic students. The Chinese Tao clearly teaches that the essence, which is bottled up within all of these conjunctions of devil eyes, which constitute the ego, has to pass through incessant alchemical transformations in the ninth sphere before converting itself into the seminal pearl, or seminal pearl. The seminal pearl is developed by means of sexual magic, and the formidable work with the lance of Longinus, with which we convert the animal ego into cosmic dust, in order to be converted into the auric embryo. The marvelous reflex of the sexual energy in the form of a luminous whirlwind, like when a ray of light returns after crashing against a wall, comes to crystallize within ourselves as the auric flower. Thus, this establishes within the neophyte a permanent center of consciousness. The auric embryo, dressed with the wedding garment of the soul, truly experiences a supreme joy in the moment in which it is fused with the human soul. From that moment, it can be said that we are human beings with soul, sacred individuals, truly responsible people in the most complete sense of the word. All of the experiences of life are found contained within the auric embryo. That is why it is clear that the auric embryo originates deep transformations within the pneumatic, immortal principles of the human being. This is how we convert ourselves into adepts, or adepts of the White Lodge, rather the White Brotherhood. The world of Tiferet is the world of willpower. In that world, only the will of the Father is done on earth as it is in heaven. It is a world which is beyond the mind. It is of an intense electric blue color. Many other colors exist, but the fundamental one is blue. One finds in this world of natural causes many bodhisattvas who work under the direction of their real being. Music and sound prime within this world. Whosoever reaches the fifth initiation of the fire becomes an adept and has the right to enter into the world of music. Here we find the temple of the music of the spheres. One of the guardians of that temple is the great master who, when he was alive in the physical world, was called Beethoven. He is a great initiate. His 9 symphonies are marvelous. Everyone who reaches this region has to learn the fundamental notations of music, because music is the verb. In that sublime region, the music of the spheres is heard. It is based on the 3 compasses of Mahavan and Chotavan, which keep the universe in its rhythm, and its match is perfect, for there cannot be an error in this music. Within the region of Tiferet, the cloth of Veronica is found, which signifies Christic willpower, meaning one has to perform the will of the Father. To obtain conscious will is impossible without working in the 9th sphere. Many places exist where people are submitted to tremendous tortures in order to acquire conscious will, but really they only store some energy. The true fakir has his guru, and he does not leave India. The fakirs acquire many powers, but nothing else. Some of them raise an arm and they don't lower it ever again. The arm becomes withered. They pursue willpower with such actions, but their willpower does not pass beyond such action. They do not achieve the building of the body of conscious will. All of this miraculous stuff deviates people, therefore the fakirs are deviated. Once the body of conscious will is built, one becomes a twice-born. Chapter LXII, Netzach. The mental body is the donkey that we must ride in order to enter into the celestial Jerusalem. Samael Aun Weor. The mind that is a slave of the senses makes the soul disabled. Just as the boat that the wind misleads upon the waters. Bhagavad Gita. Netzach is the mental world, the cosmic mind, the mind of the human being. There are some authors who suppose that the mind is Venusian. I have to disagree with this because when properly observed, the mind is found to be mercurial. Anyone can realize that the mind is mercurial because Mercury gives wisdom, gives the word, and so on. Until now, the mental body of the human race is found in the aurora of evolution. By clairvoyantly observing the physiognomy of the mental body of the human being, we corroborate with this affirmation. The face of the mental body is almost all human beings has an animal appearance. When we observe the customs and habits of the human species, then we understand why the mental body of people has animal physiognomy. The lunar mental body is of a bestial nature. The solar mental body is the antithesis. This is the Christ mind. The lunar mental body that we possess is of a bestial nature, and even animals and plants possess it. The single difference that exists between the beasts and the incorrectly named humans is that humans have been given intellectualism, and the beasts only act instinctively. The solar mental body is not a vague, abstract body. It is a body of flesh and bones, but imperishable flesh that does not come from Adam. It can pass through a wall. One has to build it in the ninth sphere. The solar mind is a body of perfection that eats, drinks, assimilates, digests, has its special nourishments, its nutrition, its development. In the world of the mind, there are many temples that must be conquered within the point of the sword. When one is working in the fourth initiation of major mysteries, one finds himself with the many tenebrous entities, and one has to fight. When one acquires the mental body, the degree of Buddha is reached, or received, rather. The blessed goddess mother of the world presents the initiate in the temple of the mind by saying, "Behold, here my beloved son or daughter. Behold here a new Buddha." She then puts upon the head of her child the diadem of Shiva and the yellow mantle of the Buddha. Sanat Kumara, the illustrious founder of the great College of Initiates of the White Lodge, then exclaims, "Thou hast liberated thyself from the four bodies of sin, and thou hast penetrated into the world of gods. Thou art a Buddha." When the human being is liberated from the four bodies of sin, he is a Buddha, and the globe of the Imperator, with the cross upon it, is granted unto him. Our disciples must change the process of reasoning for the beauty of comprehension. The process of reasoning divorces the mind from the innermost. A mind which is divorced from the innermost falls into the abyss of black magic. Many times the innermost gives an order of the mind, and the mind reveals itself with its reasoning. The innermost speaks by hunches or thoughts, but the mind reveals by reasoning and comparison. Reasoning is based on opinions and the struggle of antithetic concepts in the process of conceptual election and so on. Reasoning divides the mind between the struggles of the antithesis. Antithetic concepts convert the mind into a battlefield. A mind which is divided by the battle of reasoning, by the struggle of antithetic concepts, fractions the understanding, and converts the mind into a worthless instrument for the being, for the innermost. When the mind cannot serve as an instrument for the innermost, then it serves as an instrument for the animal eye, and converts the human being into a blind and torpid being, slave of passions and of sensorial perceptions of the exterior world. The most torpid and passionate beings that exist upon the earth are precisely the great intellectual reasoners. The intellectual loses the sense of a sentence only for the lack of a period or comma. The intuitive one knows how to read where the master did not write, and to listen when the master is not speaking. The reasoner is a complete slave to the external senses, and his soul is as disabled as the boat that the wind misleads upon the waters. The spiritual reasoners are the unhappiest beings that exist upon this earth. They have the mind completely crammed with theories and more theories, and they suffer horribly when they cannot perform anything of which they have read. Those poor beings have terrible pride, and commonly they end up separated from the innermost, converting themselves into tantric personalities of the abyss. If we take the mental body of any pseudo-spiritualist theorizing student, and if we examine it in detail, we will find that it is a true walking library. If then we examine in detail the coccygeal church of Ephesus, or Chakra Muladhara, we will find that the Kundalini is completely enclosed there without giving a sign of even the most slight awakening. If we examine the Shushumna canal of the student, we will not find vestiges of the sacred fire there. We will find that the 33 chambers of the given student are completely full of darkness. This internal examination will take us to the conclusion that the given student is lamentably wasting his or her time. The student could have a mental body converted into a true library, but all of the 33 chambers of the spinal column would be completely extinguished and in profound darkness. Conclusion. This student is an inhabitant of darkness, an inhabitant of the abyss. The intellectuals are full of pride, arrogance, and sexual passion. The intellect is based on reasoning, and reasoning is luciferic and demonic. There are some people who believe that they can know God through reasoning. We see that only God knows himself. It is better to practice internal meditation than to lose time reasoning. Through meditation we can talk with God, the innermost, the being, the Most High. Thus we can learn from the internal master. Thus we can study the divine wisdom at the feet of the master. The process of reasoning destroys the delicate membranes of the mental body. Thought must flow silently, serenely, and integrally, without the struggle of antithesis, without the process of reasoning which divides the mind between opposite concepts. We have to finish with reasoning and awaken the intuition. Only thus can we learn the true wisdom of God. Only thus will the mind be in the hands of the innermost. The true positive function of the mind is art, beauty, love, music, the mystical art of love towards divine architecture, towards painting, singing, sculpture, technology, towards technology placed under the service of the human being, but without selfishness, nor evil, nor hatred, and so on. The intellect has the negative function of the mind, or rather, as the negative function of the mind is demoniacal. Everyone that enters into these studies, the first thing that they want to do, or rather want, is to dominate the mind of others. This is pure and legitimate black magic. No one has the right to violate the free will of others. No one has the right to exercise coaction upon the mind of others, because this is black magic. The ones that are guilty of this grave error are all of those mistaken authors that are everywhere. All of those books of hypnotism, magnetism, and suggestion are books of black magic. Wherever or whosoever does not know how to respect the free will of others is a black magician. Those who perform mental works in order to violently dominate the mind of others convert themselves into perverse demons. These people separate themselves from the innermost, and they crumble into the abyss. We must liberate the mind from all types of preconcepts, desires, fears, hatred, and schools. All of those defects are locks that anchor the mind to the external senses. One has to change the process of reasoning by the quality of discernment. Discernment is the direct perception of the truth without the process of reasoning. Discernment is comprehension without the need for reasoning. You must change the process of reasoning for the beauty of comprehension. The mind must be completely transformed into an infant. It must be converted into a child full of beauty. The symbols of Netzach are the lamp, the belt, and the rose. Chapter LXIII, Hod. Hod is the astral world, the astral body. The astral world is governed by the moon. This is why astral projections become easier during the crescent moon and a little bit more arduous during the waning moon. The astral plane is really the plane of practical magic. For example, in some of the tribes of the most profound jungles of the Amazon, the piaches, or sorcerer priests, give unto their people a special beverage in order to enter into the astral plane at will. They mix the ashes of a tree called guarumo with very well ground leaves of cocoa. This is administered when the moon is a crescent. Thus, this is how astral projection is performed. The piaches know very well that Hod, the astral world, is governed by the moon. But many Kabbalists suppose that it is governed by Mercury, and they are mistaken. The messages that descend from the world of the pure spirit become symbolic in the astral plane. Those symbols are interpreted based on the law of philosophical analogies, on the law of analogous contraries, on the law of correspondences, and on the law of numerology. The book of Daniel and the biblical passages of the patriarch Joseph, son of Jacob, must be studied in order to learn how to interpret your astral experiences. The legitimate and authentic astral body is the solar astral body, the body of desires, which is of a lunar nature, has been mistakenly called the astral body. All of the creatures of nature are lunar. They possess a lunar astral body, which is a cold protoplasmic body, a bestial remnant of the past. What we need to do is build the authentic body of Hod, the legitimate astral body, which is a vehicle of a solar nature. This must be built in the ninth sphere by working in the flaming forge of Vulcan. The solar astral body is a body of flesh and bone that does not come from Adam. It is a body that eats, digests, and assimilates. There are diverse authors of a pseudo-esoteric and pseudo-occultist type that fall into the error of mistaking the ego with the astral body. Modern metaphysical literature speaks a lot about projections of the astral body, although we must have the courage to recognize that fans of occultism are used to projecting themselves with their ego in order to travel in the sublunar regions of nature through time and space. We can travel through the Milky Way towards the central sun Sirius with the solar body. To go beyond the Milky Way is forbidden unto us, because in the other galaxies there are other types of cosmic laws that are unknown to the inhabitants of this galaxy. There is a great temple in Sirius where the great masters of this galaxy receive an initiation. The disciples of the god Sirius are Rosicrucian Gnostics. The true Rosy Cross is in the superior worlds. The disciples of the Rosy Cross have the Holy Grail emblazoned on their hoods. They also celebrate the drama of the Christ because it is a cosmic drama. Our disciples must acquire the power of traveling with the astral body. This power is acquired by daily vocalizing for an hour the sacred mantra Egypto. The vowel E sounded E makes the thyroid gland vibrate and grants unto the person the power of the occult ear. The G, as in good, awakens the chakra of the liver, and when this chakra has reached its complete development, the person can enter and depart from the physical body whenever it wishes. The I, pronounces E like tree, when combined with the letter P, develops unto the person clairvoyance and the power to leave the astral body through the window of Brahma, which is the pineal gland. The letter T beats upon the vowel O, which is intimately related with the chakra of the heart. Thus, the human being can acquire the power in order to detach from his or this plexus and depart in the astral body. The correct pronunciation of the mantra is as follows. Egypto. Egypto. Those who have not attained the capacity of departing in the astral body with other clues do not have that power. Then they must acquire this power firstly by vocalizing for 1 hour daily the mantra Egypto. This mantra completely develops the chakras related with the projection of the astral body. This is how the disciple acquires the power of astral projection. The disciple could then enter and leave the physical body at will. The Egyptian mantra that is utilized in order to depart in the astral body is the following. This is a different one. It's Pharaon. This mantra is vocalized in those instances of transition between vigil and dream, having the mind placed on the pyramids of Egypt. The correct pronunciation of the mantra is as follows. Pharaon. This mantra is used in order to depart in the astral body. And as we have already stated, it is pronounced during the state of transition between vigil and dream, and with the mind concentrated on the pyramids of Egypt. Nonetheless, the disciples that do not have the power of departing with the astral body firstly must acquire it by vocalizing daily for 1 hour, as we have already mentioned, the mantra Egypto. Chapter LXIV, Yesod. He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy member cut off, shall not enter unto the congregation of the Lord. Deuteronomy chapter 23, line 1. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until the even. Leviticus chapter 15, line 18. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from the uncleanness that they did not in their uncleanness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. Leviticus chapter 15, line 31. Yesod is the vital or ethereal body. Yesod is the foundation of the third logos, the center where the sexual force of the third logos gravitates. The sexual forces, which are the living foundation of our physiology, gravitate in Yesod. The Holy Spirit abides in Yesod. It is convenient to clarify that if we consider Yesod as a foundation, it is clear that it is found in the sexual organs. The vital body, or the foundation of the biological, physical, and chemical activities, is something else, that in some way is influenced by Yesod. In any case, Yesod is the sexual organs. Perfumes and sandals are the symbols of Yesod. The secret of all secrets is found in the mysterious stone Shem HaMeforesh. Shem HaMeforesh of the Hebrews. This is the philosophical stone of the alchemists. This is sexual magic. This is love. Blessed be love. The Bible tells us that when Jacob awoke from his sleep, he consecrated the stone and he poured oil upon the top of it and blessed it. Really, since that moment, Jacob started the practice of sexual magic. Later on, he incarnated his internal master, his real being. Jacob is the angel Israel. The ancient sages worshipped the sun under the symbolic form of a black stone. This is the Heliogabalus stone, or Heliogabalus stone. The philosophical stone is science, philosophy, and religion. Philosophical stone is squared as the celestial Jerusalem of St. John. Upon one of its faces is written the name of Adam. Upon the other, the name of Eve, or Adam and Eve. And following the names of Azoe and Inri upon the other sides. The philosophical stone is very sacred. The masters are children of the stones. The mysteries of sex enclose the key of all powers. Everything that comes into life is a child of sex. Jesus said unto Peter, And I say unto you that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Matthew chapter 18, line 16. 18, actually. Sorry. Got backwards. Chapter 16, line 18. No one can incarnate the internal Christ without having edified the temple upon the living stone, sex. We must raise the 7 columns of the temple of wisdom. Upon each one of the 7 columns, or chakras, of the temple, the word Inri, ignis nature renovatur integra, is written with characters of fire, or ignis nature renovator integra. And Jesus sent Peter, whose gospel is sex, and John, whose gospel is the word, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. Luke chapter 22, line 8. The secret name of Peter is Patar, with his 3 consonants that in high esotericism are radical. They are P-T-R. The letter P reminds us of the Father who is in secret. The Ancient of Days of the Hebraic Kabbalah, the Father of the Gods, our fathers, or Vitaras. Vitaras. It sounds, I thought maybe something related to pharaohs, but Vitaras. The letter T or Tau is the famous crossed letter in sex yoga. It is the divine hermaphrodite, the man and woman sexually united during intercourse. The letter R is vital in the word inwardly because it is the tremendously divine sacred fire, the Egyptian Ra. Peter, the disciple of Jesus Christ, is Aladdin, the marvelous interpreter, who is authorized to lift the stone that shut the sanctuary of the great mysteries. It is impossible to roll the stone, to lift it. If previously we did not give unto it a cubic form by means of the chisel and the hammer. Peter, Patar, the illuminator, is the master of sexual magic, the bountiful master who always awaits us at the entrance of the difficult path. Peter died crucified on an inverted cross with the head aiming downwards and the feet aiming upwards, inviting us to descend into the ninth sphere in order to work with the water and with the fire, which are the origin of worlds, beasts, human beings, and gods. Every authentic white initiation starts here. This is a descent. This symbolizes the descent, not a fall. A temporary descent. The doctrine of Peter is the doctrine of sex, the science of Maituna among the Orientals, the sexual magic, the living stone, the boulder. The rock is sex, upon which we must build our interior temple for our intimate Christ, our Lord. Peter said, "Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, Behold, I lay in Sion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe, he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders rejected, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense." Peter chapter 2, lines 6 to 8. Jesus Christ said, "Therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock," sex. "And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand." Theories of all types, practices of all varieties, but with the complete exclusion of the Maituna or sexual magic. "And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it." This falling into the abyss, in other words, he's saying. Matthew chapter 7, line 24 to 27. The part about theories of all types and practices of all varieties is in brackets, not the quote. "In the world there are millions of people who edify upon the sands. And they hate sexual magic. They do not want to edify upon the rock, upon the stone. They edify upon the sands of their theories, schools, etc. Thus they believe that they're doing well. These poor people are sincerely mistaken ones, with very good intentions. Nonetheless, they will fall into the abyss. Without the doctrine of Peter, the second birth is impossible. We, the Gnostics, study the doctrine of Peter. Infrasexuals and perverts mortally hate the doctrine of Peter. Many are the sincerely mistaken ones who believe that they can self-realize by excluding sex. Many are the ones that talk against sex, the ones that insult sex, the ones that spit all of their slanderous drivel on the sacred sanctuary of the third Logos. Those that hate sex, those that say that sex is gross, filthy, animalistic, bestial, are the insulters, the ones that blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. Flee fornication, brackets, spilling the semen, or having the orgasm. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians, chapter 6, line 18. Wherefore I say unto you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men, but the blasphemy against the Holy Ghost shall not be forgiven unto men.